there, guys. It's Mia here. I am so excited. I am so excited about this live today. And I'm excited specifically because of the topic. And the topic is how to step into the highest and greatest version of yourself. I've got 3 simple points today for the community, and I know that what I'm going to share with you is going to support you um, in stepping into what is next for you, the most powerful and highest version of what you deserve. And likely it's even the parts of you that you know are there that you haven't been stepping into. I want to make sure that everybody can hear me on this live. So let me just check this real quick on Facebook. Okay, looks like you guys can. All right, super excited about this live today. How to be the highest and greatest version of yourself. I want to just tell you a story, and it's something I've been thinking a lot about today, mainly because, because of AI and so many people using AI as an incredible tool, which it is an amazing tool to be able to make efficiency work, get things done a lot quicker. But what I'm also seeing as a coach is a lot of individuals aren't being the highest and tallest version of themselves. And let me explain what I mean. Okay, guys, hang in there. You are in a category of 1. Your experience, your expertise, your knowledge, your authenticity, and I can think of nothing other than not being the highest version of yourself by deciding to not show up as you with the courses you're creating, the talks that you are writing, the consulting that you're doing. What I see is that so many who are relying on a tool that is amazing and is there to enhance that which you are, instead of that, they are hiding behind that tool, and that tool is becoming their voice. Okay, so y'all know I want to break this down. This is a private message for the community, and so I wanted to do this live specifically just for my heart, for those of you who I've worked with, which is pretty much everybody here in this community, and I want you to know that what the world is going to want from you today is truth. And to get to that next level of where you want to be, it's going to require a version of you and a new level of clarity and commitment and support. But it's not going to require you to step outside of those things, right? The world really needs for you to show up in what it is that you want to create. When I started my business 20 years ago, the reason why I've had success and have continued to have success, and not being braggy or anything like that, just hear my heart, has been because I have always shown up. There are people who know me specifically on me sharing life components with you, sharing my children with you, right? Sharing my growth, my personal growth journey with you. And because of that, those individuals also saw what my expertise is and decided, this is a person that I want to align with. This is a person I want to work with, right? And I want you to know that the same is true for you no matter what you're doing. I don't care if you're working with a corporation or you're working with individuals. What is needed more than ever is you. And I say this as a person who has spent the last couple of weeks reading so much text that isn't the highest and tallest version of the people I know. But instead it's some learning management language, right? And that language that is not their own. And while the formulations might sound good, and while in 10 minutes you can have so many things created for you, if you don't show up in those things, it's not the highest and tallest version of you being the greatest version of yourself. And I want to keep that 100% with you guys. So there are 3 things that I believe will really help you, and that are reflective prompts, if you will, that will allow you to see where you fit as a solution. And the first piece of what I want to share is clarity. one of the greatest questions you could ask yourself, I think, is do you really know what the greater version of you looks like? Or are you chasing someone else's vision? Are you chasing or following, AI solution for you? And that's such a good question. I mean, I think it's something that I'd like you all to think about right now. Like I said, it's from my heart because what I know is true is that technology isn't going away. It's just getting better and better and better. And when you understand how to use technology as an enhancement for who you are and not a replacement for who you are, you will see incredible growth in terms of what you're doing. But conversely, if you do the opposite, which is, chat, tell me, who I am, what I do, who I serve, you're going to find that you're going to be a watered down version of you, and you're going to sound like everyone else out there. And, if you go online today, it's what you see. People are literally sending personal messages. Like I get personal messages all the time, responses, and it's not even a person writing. It's literally Chat GPT. So what we're talking about today is, what do you need to be the highest and tallest version of you? And the first thing that I want you to consider is the clarity. Do you really know what the greater version of you looks like? It's such a great question. If I asked you right now to write down, what does the greatest version of you look like? Or are you chasing someone else's vision, right? Or are you allowing technology, i.e. ChatGPT or the equivalents, to design for you who you are and how you are to serve, right? And I want you to understand this, that when I think about who I am, my position has always been that I help women design, align profitable models around who they truly are. And so having this conversation with you is very appropriate because y'all in my community and I care about you. And the last thing I want to see is for people in the community to not lead over the next couple of weeks, which is the biggest, the most profitable season ever, but not to be the whole and tallest version of yourself. Your clients, your ideal clients, they're looking for you right now. But they will never be able to find you if we don't hear your voice. And it's a tough conversation, but it's an important one. And if you haven't thought about this, or you have found yourself maybe a little too, excited about not having to write your own copy or not do what you need to do to share all of who you are with your audience, it's the reason why your people aren't responding to what you are putting out there in the marketplace. Everything that I write it. If I use ChatGPT, it's to edit what I've written, but when I'm writing something, I'm writing it. When I'm speaking to you guys, I'm speaking to you from my heart. And the reason that it creates resonance, the reason that I get DM messages, the reason that I get sales, the reason that I get appointments is because of that level of authenticity, the fact that I value my audience enough not to delegate those components that I know are the most significant components, because without those things years ago, it is how I built an audience from no audience. Okay, so hear me on this. So maybe one of the things that we need to focus on with you is getting you to understand what the highest and tallest version of you is, because ultimately that's what you go to the market with. And I know that this can be a really scary place for so many, because a lot of times we have a story stuck in our head around not being the highest version of ourselves for others. We are concerned about what other people think of us when we are at our highest and tallest. Let me break that down. When you're smart and you're sharp, and I always say, and you always know the answer, and you've been in environments where, your light shines bright. And sometimes there can be a discomfort with that. So when you look at these kind of tools and these kind of technology tools, it's easy to find them attractive because they can describe the things that you haven't been able to describe before, your brilliance, because you sit too close to it. But I want you to understand that the most important thing in attracting anything that you want is to know who you are. and to really have a sense of the highest and tallest version of yourself. And when you're going to market to offer what you're doing, you're offering you, all of you, not a watered down version of you, not a fake expert or false expert version of you, not a chat GPT version of you, but who you are. And you can't do that not doing that work. Number two, the second thing, if you want to step into the highest version of yourself, is to ask yourself about your commitment. So commitment is so important, and that is like, are you ready to stop playing small and make the investments that align, that are congruent with your greatness? And so let me explain that. My position is that I have normalized for myself investments as part of transformation. And because I love to transform who I am, I love to live differently than most. I love to have models that give me the freedom and the time to do the things that I want to do. Then for me, I have normalized for myself investing in myself. And I say this because one of the greatest questions you can ask yourself is that, are you ready to stop playing small and make investments that are congruent with your greatness? Now, I say that because and I work with, you work with me, you know how I feel about investing in yourself, and I'm very unapologetic around it. So I'm going to go a little bit deep and personal on this. The reality during this time, where I would say in the last 2 years, right, so many have, who are brilliant and amazing and leaders in the business, have decided that standing in your value is not something that you can do. And I have decided, look, it is what I do, because I only sell what I know how to do, and I know how to help people create amazing results. And people are willing to make those investments who want those kind of results, who want the level of intimacy and caring that I provide, who want direct answers and solutions and coaching that isn't cookie cutter, that really, really understands who you are and helps you quickly to figure out what your next attainable steps are. And because of that, I decided, listen, I'm not going to sell what I have for $9 or $27 or $99, because of the level of results that my clients create. The reality is they continue to duplicate those results over and over again. And if I help somebody put together their first package that they sell for $5,000 or 10 or 25 or whatever or more per client, they're going to do that for the rest of their life. And that's never 99 cents. So I'm using myself as an example, and I want you to hear me on this. And I see so many people who have shot themselves in the foot because what they have done in the marketplace is not be committed to themselves. They have decided that lowering their prices is the answer during a time when they are uncertain, or they're watching people who are uncertain. And when I say uncertain, I mean these are people who maybe they don't know the level of value and transformation that they bring, and therefore for them that's the only option, maybe the people that you're watching. And so if you watch people who don't know their value, then you claim their value as your own, and it's just not true. During this time where so many have contracted, there are people who also who are very much like me, and they have normalized investing in themselves as part of a transformation. And these are people who are proactive, who say yes the first time, who you don't have to chase because they want to make an investment. They're saying, hey, look, I want to build this business. I want to build this coaching. I want to build this consulting. I want to, make this amount of money. And yet they want you to chase them around to say yes to themselves. Those are not the people I want to work with. I've released those people because it makes more room, greater room for that person that's like, Mia, show me what to do. And they're willing and they're ready and they're committed to do the work. And they're willing to do the work when it gets hard. See, the thing is, gotta make sure I'm plugged in here. The thing is, when people are unsure of themselves, the reality is that they think price is the cure-all, when it's not price that people are buying from you than buying your certainty. What people buy from me is my certainty, the certainty that my processes have worked, the certainty that I'll support them 100%, the certainty that watching the trajectory of me run this business for the last 20 years from the comfort of my home, that's all real, right? They've grown up and they've watched the journey and they've said, or the certainty that, man, like Mia's did a webinar 8 years ago and that webinar is still running and bringing clients in. What, right? What the certainty that what Mia has gone from mom coaching to coaching women and helping them create packages and pricing that really values them and how to market and how to sell in her coaching. She strategically, elevated what she was doing over the years with ease and with grace. Oh, wait a minute. No, the certainty that Mia's models are one to many and that she's not trading time for dollars. The certainty that I've seen hundreds of her testimonials and I know it's real in terms of the number of people that she's supported based on what I have seen. See, what your clients will purchase from you, hear me on it, is commitment. And it's going to be your commitment to what you do and your commitment to not playing small and your commitment to aligning your skills and your talent with the level of investment that's congruent to that. And you got to be really clear about that. And it is the number one reason why I will offer opportunities for people to work with me, and I make what I do accessible, but I'm always really clear on the value that I bring and how transformative the knowledge that I have and from the experience, personal experience, and helping other people duplicate the results that I've created and so much more, that none of that can just be something that is available for $27. And you have to think about that during this time. There are instances when it makes sense that somebody could sell what they do for $27. In fact, I could do it because I have a big list of people who would say yes, and I'd make some money from it. And those people could take some journey with me. But if you're new and you're starting out and you build a low value list, how do you ever ascend with people who are willing to invest in what you can do for them for $2,500 or more? It's just really great, sound advice, and I hope it supports you in understanding, my goal is to support those of you who are ready, and I have this year, the most difficult client to work with, and I'm just going to be honest, is that client that invests at the lowest level. Honestly, it's just the truth. The client that is the investing at the lowest level, and I'd say $2,500 down, these clients are going to be the ones who you're going to work so hard for those individuals, and because they're not investment minded, they won't even realize what you gave them. Does that make sense? So just work with people that understand and value themselves enough, that are committed enough to show up proactively to invest in themselves. When I tell you that, I mean, I work with people all the time who just reach out and they say, I'm ready. And then how can we work together? Or someone I'm doing a strategy call with, just to give you guys a picture of the language of what it can look like. And they'll just say, well, here's my credit card number, or I'm ready to work together right now, or, what, can you send me the invoice, or where's the contract? They ask me. And you want people in your business who do that. And if you don't, it means that this is a good question to go back to, right? Are you normalizing investment yourself as part of transformation? Because your outside world is a reflection of your inside world, okay? So if you're not a person that's normalizing investing in yourself, and then you're selling something you want people to invest in, imagine that you're just attracting you, okay? I'm my number one investment. So for me, it's a no-brainer always that no matter what I'm doing, I'm always going to proactively invest in myself and what I need, right? And that's really important. So, and then the third piece of, if you want to step into the highest and tallest version of yourself, that I think is really important as well, is community and support. And the question I always have for myself is like, who's holding the space for the version of you you're becoming, right? So let me just, you guys just write this down. Like, who is holding the space for the version of you that you are becoming? And so often we are really great at what we do, but we are like soldiers all by ourselves, right? Like you're just doing this thing and you're doing it all by yourself, and it doesn't serve you because the people who need you, okay, the people who need you, they need you to show up for them. Does that make sense? And you need those people to show up for you, okay? So let me explain, right? So the way I've always seen my coaches and my coaching relationships is that I show up for them. So how do I show up for them? I show up by commenting on things that they put out there. I show up for them by being engaged in what I'm presenting to them as an idea. I show up for them on time for the things that I've invested in. I show up for them by not giving them a generic version of the things I'm working on, right? I'm never going to ask my coach to read to a chat GPT version of something I'm working on, right? That's new. And then they in turn show up for me, right? With the accountability, the vision, the next vision of what things look like, the steps, the timeline. And I want to talk about this because I think so often, sometimes we get things twisted in our minds, and I'm not really sure. I'm talking with my hands a lot today because it's just something I've been thinking about. Sometimes we get twisted in our mind like that. You're almost like in a coaching dynamic that you're just there in the community. Like one of the things that is really interesting to me is I know if someone is zoned in on what they're doing or not based on when I ask you a question about something based on how they answer, right? So let me explain. So let's say you are working on closing a sale, and I ask you about closing the sale, but you talk to me about something completely different. It tells me that you are not zoned in on closing that sale, because when you're zoned in on the goal, you know the question is being asked of you. But when you're not zoned in on the goal, I'm not saying you were doing this, I'm just saying in general what I've seen is that you can be avoidant, meaning you stay away. It means that you can just talk about avoiding in terms of the topic, like just talk about something else because maybe you didn't make the calls, that you didn't follow up, that maybe you have no idea, right? But people who are locked in to their community and locked in to their support, they don't show up that way. And so I want to challenge anybody in this community around that. Like, how are you showing up? Like, are you showing up like ready to add value? Because I believe that everything that you say in the community adds value. The things that you say about what you're doing and how you're doing it, or how you shifted your mindset, or how you closed something differently, or what actions you took to create the said result, right? And who's holding a space for that version of you and who you're becoming? Are you being fully transparent around the goals that you have? Sometimes we're not. We run off. We aren't fully because we're scared. We might not get there, right? So, and if that's the case, you don't want to have that conversation. But I do think that you have to be vulnerable to get to that next level. And I know that for me, that's the case. And that has really made all the difference. And I know that many of you have benefited from that in my programs, my mentorship, and the containers that I create. That's what they are, They're containers where there's community and there is support. And it's best when you are doing the work and you are showing up not as a okay, this is what I got to do, but you're showing up with a whole heart, because you're doing the work for yourself, right? Because you're committed, because you have clarity, like I just mentioned. So today what I've been talking about is how to reach and touch the next version of yourself. And I've covered 3 things that I think are just so important. If you're just watching this, go back and watch the beginning. And the first is clarity. Do you really know what the greatest version of you looks like, or are you chasing someone else's vision or AI's vision of you? Is that what we're doing here, right? Over the years, what I've done is I help women design, align profitable models around who they truly are. And they package them. I show them how to price them, how to position themselves in their marketing, how to close and sell. And I get them to stand tall and stand in their value and own what's great about them. 2, commitment. Are you ready to stop playing small and make the investments that align with your greatness? And that means, like, I don't know where you are right now on the investment scale, but you know, what I do know is that there's a lot of shiny objects out there that were never meant to support you at the highest and tallest level. And I know for a fact that, you know, if you take a week over here and spend $27 and another week over here and spend $47 and another week over here and spend $97 or $4.97 for the Band-Aids, right? When you need a bandage or you might need a cast, right? Based on whatever it is, just using that as an example. You haven't necessarily normalized investment as part of your transformation. And this is like language here, but when you normalize, like, I'm only going to work with the best, and I'm only going to work with someone that has my growth is their priority, right? I want my coach to know me. I want to work with someone that gets me, can help me quicker, faster, sooner, get the result. When that becomes your commitment to yourself, you will invest differently. And number 3 is community and support, which I think are everything. And, you know, ask yourself who's holding a space for the version of you you're becoming, and do you have that? And if you don't have that, it's important. It's important in this season, you know, and every program or mentorship or consulting that I offer is what I do, is hold a space for the version of you that is congruent with the growth you want to see. Building the business around your life, right? Making sure that the models really are sustainable for you long term. And that's important to know that. Making sure you're also in community with people, your own ambition level and above, and that you grow your esteem to be able to hang out with those people. You know, I think it's really important. I love to work with people I can speak an elevated language to, and it's unchallenged. You know what I'm saying? Because you have people who want to stay where they are and have a small vision of themselves because that's where they've been circling like over and over again in their life. And when you call them out to that, they instantly are like, what are you talking about? Like, what do you mean? Like, because, you know, maybe for them that part is scary. But working with people who really embrace the highest and tallest version of what could it look like? You know, how can I create impact in the greatest ways, right? With models that have, maybe I don't know anything about these models, but I'm open to learning everything there is. And they value seeing examples of that, whether it's in their coach and mentor or whether it's in their community, because it really elevates them, right? So what's one thing you need today to move closer to your greater self? And so just write that down right now, right? What's one thing, right, like that you might need today, right, if you answer that question, to move into and closer to your greater self, right? And you know, for some of you, what you really need is strategic advisement. And that's someone that sees your next level and can show you how to turn what you already know into something that's profitable and that's purposeful and that's powerful. And if that's you, then let's have a conversation. And I'm going to drop the link. I think it's also in the description here for you to book a consult with me. And, you know, I just want to say, look, if I mentioned the other day, 3 spots are gone already, the opportunity for VIP days with me. If you want to do a VIP day, just me and you, great. You can do a half day, you can do a full day, you can even now do a shared day. I just mentioned an opportunity the other day for that. So shared day, you could share a VIP day with others. If that's of interest, reach out. You can DM me about it. Or maybe you know that it's private consulting that you're looking for. Totally cool with it. Or maybe it's a group program that I have that's what you need, right? And for most of you, you could get started monthly around $1,200 a month, right? $1,250 a month. For most of you, that could work. So if you've been looking for something with me and you're like, man, I know that I just need support, I need community, I need accountability, I need to be seen, don't know that you need that and not take that next step and reach out. And for those of you who've worked with me before and you're ready for your next, it's what I do, right? So, and my question to you right now is, what do you think you need the most? Do you think it's clarity? Do you think it's confidence? Do you think it's strategy, right? And I'm going to post in the chat the link for you to book a call. And my goal is literally to see how I can support you guys this year, because I know that I can support you, and I know that I can help you really be able to take what you want to do for this upcoming year and get it knocked out the park. And I'm excited about doing that. So this is the message that was on my heart today, on this beautiful day. So it's kind of cloudy out today, but the sun is going to set soon, setting early. But this is what I had on my heart that I wanted to share with my community today, because I think sometimes it's important to have those honest conversations. We talk so much about packaging and pricing and positioning and finding buyers, but really it just comes down to clarity, confidence, community, and support. And do you have those things? Do you have the clarity you need? Do you have the confidence, right, to be able to launch the way that you want to? Are you making the investments in yourself in the right way? Are you using these tools to elevate you but not replace you? All of that's important. And I hope there's something that I've said that has supported you today in stepping into the highest and tallest version of yourself. I love you, and I hope that you have a great and amazing rest of the day. Check the post link below. Book a call. I'd love to talk to you guys, okay? Or you can DM me. Talk to you soon.